to the Elite Life Podcast with your hosts, Trisha and Kylee. Here, we guide you on a journey of personal and professional transformation, revealing the secrets to success. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, join us as we unlock the doors to the elite world of growth, grit, and grace. So, let's dive in.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Elite Life Podcast. I'm Kylee and I'm here with Trish, and we are bringing you the energy this morning because we all need it. And today's episode is all about setting goals, more importantly, avoiding the common mistakes that we all make when it comes to goal setting. And today's episode is properly titled, How Not to Suck in 2024.
Yeah, because who wants to suck in the new year?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't suck.
No. And, as we dive into the new year, everyone's thinking about their goals, their resolutions, how to make 2024 their best year yet.
Best year ever. Slay.
New year, new me. But let's be honest, right? Goal setting is not always a walk in the park. It can be challenging. And sometimes we just set ourselves up for failure without even realizing.
Absolutely. So today we're going to dive into 7 goal setting mistakes that, that we all make, except for Trisha, of course, because she's the queen of, she's been doing this a while, so she's kind of perfected the sauce there. And we're going to talk about how to flip the script to ensure that you are successful in 2024 and how that will continue to roll all along as the calendar changes.
Yeah, let's jump right into it. So the first common mistake is setting unrealistic goals. We all love to be ambitious, and we love ambitious goals, especially in real estate, but it is crucial to ensure that they are realistically achievable. So think about it like building blocks. You need a solid foundation to start on.
This is probably something that I do a lot because I am 100% that person who on like Friday night, I'm like, okay, everybody, I got a hair in my rear end and we are going to overhaul our entire house, our lives, our spiritual warfare all in the next 24 to 48 hours and go.
And it doesn't work.
And it doesn't work because there's all the regular things that I'm responsible for. And now I'm also trying to clean out the basement, clean out the front room and redo the girls' room and rearrange the living room. And that is just unrealistic as hell. So don't do that.
Yeah. So instead of, aiming for the sun, the moon, and the stars, take a moment to reflect on your achievements in 2023.
Yeah. I mean, take a look back at what worked well, what didn't go so good, and do more of the things that worked well. For example, for me this year in my business, going through the database and just calling people who already know, like, and trust Elite Realty has led to a ton of referrals, which has me set up to close my first deal 2 weeks into the new year.
I love that for you.
You want to build on things that work. Like, for example, the other thing in my personal life that we were doing last year with 75 Hard was working out at like 6 a.m. And I think that working out later in the day works better for me. Like, it's so much easier and less stressful and I can actually enjoy it. And if I want to be there for 45 minutes, I'm there for 40. And if I want to be there for an hour and a half, I'm there for an hour and a half. Boom.
Yeah, but you're not saying, oh, I worked out for 45 minutes, that worked. Now I'm going to work out for 7 hours, right?
No.
Just like in real estate, if you closed an average of 5 deals every quarter, then now we're going to aim for 7 or 10. Be realistic about progress and growth. If you closed and you made 100,000 last year, maybe shoot for 120, 130 this year. Don't go, I made 100,000 last year, I'm going to make 500,000 this year. Like, that would be great, but it's probably very unrealistic.
So I've already set myself up with a goal that is far beyond what I actually achieved last year financially. And it might seem like a lot, but it's coming from all the different buckets, right? So I feel like if you have a financial goal, you can pour into that financial goal from different buckets if you need to reach it. But we're not saying don't set high goals, don't set a high bar. Just
It has to be realistic because if you can't see yourself achieving it in
That's
your
where it
mind,
is.
you're going to quit.
Yes.
So if everybody's saying I'm going to make $250,000 next year and you just say it to go along with what everybody else says, but in your mind you're like, there's no possible way I'm making more than 80, then you're going to quit.
Right.
And that is why you have to pay attention to, is it realistic for you and your life and what you're willing to do, right? So
that's what it comes down to, right? So quick trail. We've talked extensively about sacrifice, right? And as we're goal setting, we're talking about the things, whatever you're doing, whatever it is, you're sacrificing something. If I'm home with my kids, and it's fine to be home, enjoying, growing them, nurturing them, I'm sacrificing time at work, which is where my money comes from. If I'm working, I'm sacrificing time with my kids, but you're going to sacrifice something. And so you have to realistically decide, what are you willing to sacrifice to get where you want to go? And if you have that vision in your mind of making $250,000, but you're not willing to sacrifice your nights, your weekends, and your evenings to do the things that it's going to take to get there, then most likely, again, like Trisha said, you're not going to achieve that goal. So,
yep, absolutely. And that just brings us to mistake number 2, which is not focusing on the right thing.
Squirrel.
It's very easy to get caught up in the details and lose sight of the big picture. And we often clutter our goals with unnecessary sub goals that don't lead to any sort of meaningful outcome.
Yeah, exactly. So to flip the script on this one, take a moment to visualize your success. Like, close your eyes, imagine where you want to be at the end of the year. Like we were just talking before we got started about doing the 75 hard, and like, I'm not envisioning like a skinnier, stronger Kylee. What I say to you, I'm envisioning a clean person. Like, I'm so looking forward to the cleansing of it and the the time management that I get out of it. So envision yourself of where you want to be at the end of the year. What does success look like to you? And use that vision to guide your goals and your sub goals. So it might sound like a bit woo-woo, right? But, trust it. It works. Like, truly sit down and do this.
Yeah, and mistake number 3 is setting too many goals. I see a lot of people do this.
Again, that's me.
Yeah,
I got my hand raised for you guys who aren't watching YouTube.
Yeah, if you have a laundry list of goals, it's going to scatter your focus all over. You're going to create competing priorities. Now, I sometimes create competing priorities. Like, I'll say I'm going to run a marathon and I'm also going to CrossFit. Those are 2 entirely different things, and you're going to what I end up doing is hurting myself at CrossFit, and then I can't run for my marathon training. So, you have to streamline your goals by identifying commonalities and consolidating them into 1 to 3 big goals. Like you're saying, you want your life to feel clean and organized and on a structure. 75 hard does that for you, right?
Absolutely.
And then the sub goals that go along with 75 hard fit into giving you that structure and giving you that clean life, eating clean, being sober, drinking water, working out, all the things that you need to be doing to live that life.
Absolutely. And so I remember when we sat down, we were doing our calendaring session, and I had a list of like 5 to 6 goals, and you looked at me and you were like, this is a lot, because I know you and I love you and I know you so well, and this is going to be a lot for you, but you believe in me. So if you can have a good multitude of goals, but you have to be a disciplined, militant person. Like you were just saying, like, I don't have time to go get my nails trimmed because that's just my life. And I'm like, well, that's your damn fault for stacking your calendar. But if you don't do those things, your goals will not be met, right?
Yeah, it all has to go on the calendar. So one thing I noticed when we were doing our goal setting session, and you had all of these goals, and then I would make you put them on the calendar, you're like, this is a lot of stuff on my calendar. If you're not willing to take the goals you write down and put them on the calendar for the entire year and make space to do that, then you need to delete that goal immediately. So if you say to me, I'm I'm going to make $2 million of business from my social media, I'm like, great. So let's get your calendar out and we're going to put down, and we did this. Every single month, here's my day to create content. Here's my day to post, to load my poster with the content. And then every single day, here's my manual post that I'm going to do for content. Here's my once a quarter that I'm going to sit and make videos with the people from my office.
Here's the alarm on my phone that's going to go off every day to remind me to share the post from my business page to my personal page and add it to my stories. So yeah, we are going hella hard on Trisha mode this year. That's what Ryan calls it, by the way, when I get into this situation mentally. All right, so that brings us to talking about goals versus sub goals, because this was something that, you know, we just mentioned. How do we distinguish between goals and sub goals? Is our goal the big end of year thing, and then our sub goals are all the monthly things that are going to get us where we want to go?
Yeah. So like one year I had a goal to run. I wanted to get 52 medals in 52
That was
weeks.
such a great year for you. You totally crushed it.
It was. And so each month I had to have sub goals of, okay, if I'm doing 52 and 52, I need to each month go through and plan, 4 races. So, all right, I had it on my Google Calendar, the first of the month, I'm going to go on and plan the next month's races.
Because you had to find those, right?
Right.
And then you had to train for them.
Yes. Yeah.
So you had to create all of that space in your calendar.
Yep, absolutely. So I had my big goal of hitting 52 races, and then my sub goal was, 4 a month, and then what goes along with that is, 4 runs a week. So 4 training runs, and then 2 CrossFit sessions or weight training sessions, and then you got to make sure you have the yoga in there. So it was like big goal, and then your sub goals that align with that big goal. So if my big goal is to run, I shouldn't be CrossFitting 6 times a week and only running once, right? I should be running more and then adding in 1 or 2 weight training sessions and a stretching session.
Yeah, so that segues into mistake number 4, which is not having a plan. And Trisha has been on her soapbox preaching this since we started Elite Life Podcast. And one of my favorite things that I've started saying that I got from you is you're buying a house, not a hamburger. And so like when I'm, talking to people and they're like, oh, I'm planning on buying, at the end of the summer, oh, I'm planning on buying not this year, but next year because my credit's wrecked. I always tell them, okay, well, let's start planning right now. Even if you think that you are 12 to 24 months out from wanting to make that move, it is so important for you to start planning now, because the last thing you want to do, for example, when buying a house is call your real estate agent and say, hey, I just saw 123 Main Street for sale on Zillow and I really love it. Let's go look at it. Oh, well, now you're just starting your financial planning and you realize that you can only get pre-approved for X and the house costs Y and you need to do this number of months of credit repair. It's never too early to start planning. And so that is mistake number 4. Put a damn plan together, please.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't embark on a journey without a map, right? You're not going to say, I'm going to go, hey, Kylie, take a trip to Chicago. Are you going to pack for that trip now, or are you going to pack when you get to Chicago?
I'm usually going to pack 29 minutes before I need to leave the house.
But you're going to go with a plan. You're not going to show up and be like, oh, now I got to go to Target and buy a toothbrush. Now I got to go here and buy some clothes.
I'm going to have a list of all the things that I'm going to haphazardly throw into my bag at the last minute. And then I'm going to have the address. I have to book a hotel. We have to figure out where we're eating and what we're doing while we're there.
Yep, you got to have a plan.
The last thing you want to do is show up to Chicago with no plans of what to do.
Yes.
Don't do it.
So take your big goal and work backwards. That's what I was just talking about with like my races, right? I took my big goal and I worked backwards to create actionable sub goals. And if you need help creating a plan, like please email us. We love to help our listeners. We so appreciate that you guys choose us. We know you have tons and tons of different podcasts you can listen to and things you could tune into. We want to help you directly. So email info@mystarsacademy.com. Sometimes you just need an impartial third party to bounce ideas off of, get a little bit of coaching, and see how you can maximize your time and efforts. Getting that outside perspective can be super helpful.
That's right. We just did this, like I said, right before Christmas break. We had workshops. We we had strategizing sessions. I mean, not just like one-on-one, but we had our group of agents come together, and we were all discussing how we're going to achieve our goals. So working together helps for sure.
Yeah. And if, like, let's say your goal is a 1 million in revenue, look at how you're going to achieve Look at how you achieved 300,000.
Our train crashed.
I had no energy drinks this morning or food. I am running on empty.
It is showing.
We're
going to get you a sandwich after this.
Okay, so let's start over again. So the idea is, if your goal is to say close $1 million in revenue, look at how you achieved 300,000 in 2023, break it down into lead generation, referrals, and marketing activities, and then use these insights to create your sub goals and your roadmap to success. So if you were getting your lead gen from Facebook and your church and your kids' soccer team,
hit those hard, man.
Double down, right?
Absolutely.
Double down, triple down, and know where you're going to be working at and what worked and what didn't work. So if something didn't work, like you were paying for Zillow leads and you didn't convert any of them, stop paying for Zillow leads.
Stop doing that. Put that money somewhere else. And so that brings us to number 5, which is having goals that aren't actionable.
Yeah. So your goals should be clearly defined with actionable steps. I get this all the time. Like, if you aspire to, say, be the best agent in your area, break that down. Like, what does it mean, number one, to be the best? Is it a specific number of leads? Is it a revenue? Is it deals closed? Is it your face on this many signs in the neighborhood? And then how are you going to get to that? Okay. Like, I want to be number one agent in Clarkston, Michigan. Okay. Am I showing up at events in Clarkston? Am I spending time at the fairs in Depot Park? Am I becoming a member of the gym, a member of these clubs? Am I showing up in this area? I can't say I want to be the best agent in Clarkston and then spend all my days and times in Novi.
Right.
That's probably it's not going to convert because you're going to do business where you're at.
Absolutely. And like, for example, on the personal side, if you have a general goal of like, I'm going to be a better mom, what does that look like? Mm-hmm. Does that mean you're having, or a better wife? Are you budgeting in those one-on-one times with your kids? Are you budgeting in date night? Are you planning family trips and just making sure that you are moving toward that feeling of, I did better this year than I did last year?
I love that you say that because what does success look like to you is different for people. Like, I was listening to this girl on a webinar, and she said she was sitting next to a man, and both of them came up with family as their number one priority. And he wanted to be a better husband. He wanted to be a better dad. She wanted to be a better mom. For him, being a better dad meant making more money at work so that he could provide more opportunities for his family. And for her, being a better mom meant clocking out at 5 and being completely at home and present.
Yeah.
So for her, it was less work, and for him, it was more work. Now, there's no wrong answer to that. Like, for me, a lot of times, I was just saying this last night, Trent said, well, you can come to more of my games in Kirkland Lake. And I'm like, it's hard because I need to be here to make more money so you can be in Kirkland Lake playing hockey because, your hockey sticks cost $1,600 and your chest pad cost $1,000.
Right.
So as much as I'd love to go to every game in Kirkland Lake, it's 11 hours or 10 hours or whatever hours away. So I need 3 days to just be able to go watch one game. Right. So that can be hard. And you need to understand, like, what does success look like to you? It might be, okay, I get to go see 3 games a month of Trent's games, and I work twice as much so that I can provide more hockey gear at the level that he's at, right?
Yeah.
And those are actionable steps. I can clock my time and make sure that I'm working twice as many hours as I did last year, and I can plan those trips to make sure that I'm at 3 games a month. Those are actionable steps.
Nice. And again, the goal is to get crystal clear on the meaning of your goal. What does that mean? And then you translate it into these actionable sub goals, and these are the steps that you're going to take to achieve that big overarching goal of the year.
Yeah. And number 6 on our list, which I was just saying, is not tracking your practice. I have to be tracking, right? I'm constantly preaching this one. It's crucial to monitor your journey toward your goals and set up a system to track your progress, whether it's leads generated, deals closed, whatever metric it's going to be, how many hours you worked, how many hours you worked out, how many miles you ran, how many buyers you closed, how many doors did you knock.
Right.
So many agents say they want to make X amount of money and they're not willing to just each day track what they did. And I hear them go, I'm so busy. And I'm like,
what the hell are you doing all day?
Thank you. What are you doing? And
Exactly.
They don't know. And then when I make them track and I look at it, I'm like, what did you learn from doing this? Oh, I learned that I actually only do 37 minutes of real work and the rest of the time is me
Screwing
BSing.
around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
It makes me crazy. Can you tell?
it makes her crazy, especially when she's dealing with me because she's meanest to me and everybody knows it.
Because I love you the most.
It's because you know I can't go anywhere. So yeah, like Trisha said, if your goal is 4 closed deals in the first 3 months of 2024, track where everything's coming, where everything's going. When I actually this year, I started a timesheet. And I'm going to have to turn that in with all my weekly accountability stuff. Because the last time I started doing timesheets, I love that Trisha would write me back and be like, so you talked to Ryan for an hour during your floor shift. That was a great use of your time.
You're never moving out of your little house if you keep doing that.
Right. So note to self, don't answer the phone for family while you're working. So take us on to the very last mistake, Trish, and just lay it out for our people.
Yeah, having goals that take too long to achieve.
What the hell does that even mean?
Well, patience is essential, but overly long-term goals can lead to burnout. So keep your goals within a manageable time frame.
Magical, maniacal.
You should be able to get it done in 12 months, okay?
12
We set
months.
yearly goals, and then we break that down into action steps that we're going to take each quarter, and then we break that down even further to what are we going to do each week to get towards that quarterly goal. And then once those quarters add up, then you get it done in the year, right?
Yes.
So you should be able to map everything out today that you're going to do this year on your calendar. That is your action step for the end of this podcast.
Trisha spends a whole damn eight hours.
I do.
8 hours doing this.
Yep.
And look at her. So success leaves clues. She's crazy. She's completely crazy and she doesn't have time to take a shit. But she will reach those goals.
I do. If it's on the 411, it must get done.
Well, that's a wrap for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that these 7 goal setting mistakes will help you flip the script on your 2024 and just totally crush it. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening. We know we're here, there, and everywhere. So drop us a comment, leave us a 5-star review because you know you love us, and make sure you hit the notifications so you don't miss our new episodes.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on the Elite Life Podcast with Trish and Kylee. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend so we can keep delivering you more fantastic insights on grit, grace, and growth. Stay connected with us on Instagram and Facebook, where we'll keep the ideas flowing to help you build a life you love and leave a legacy you can be proud of. Until next time.